Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Let's Connect Now.
Hey, everyone.
So we have, this is a special month. It's Hispanic Heritage Month. So we're really excited because all month long, we're going to be talking with Hispanic owners, business owners, influencers. We have Hispanic Heritage Month taking place here at the Plaza West Covina.
Yes.
I mean, we got a lot of things going on.
We're going to be showcasing a lot of the Hispanic businesses that are super, super proud to be showcasing them. They're a couple of them have gotten a little embarrassed because I don't think they get an opportunity to do something like this. So we're really glad that we get to actually bring that here to West Covina and really showcase all the great things that our people are doing in their communities.
Shoulders, knees, and toes. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. And eyes and cheeks and mouth and nose. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes.
Affordable self-care from professional massage therapists and estheticians. It's what we do. Massage Envy, where better begins.
Hey everybody, this is Danielle with Prospectors Federal Credit Union. Just wanted to check in and say hello to all of you. Just wanted to let you guys know that you guys will be seeing me during the Hispanic Heritage Month here at with the GWC at the West Covina Plaza. But just wanted to touch on a few things with you guys. We have some amazing things going on right now with Prospectors Federal Credit Union. We do have an 8-month liquid CD. So what does that mean? That means whatever you open it with, you can actually keep depositing new funds into that CD for up to 8 months and earn 4% APY or annual percentage yield. We offer everything when it comes to savings, checking, youth accounts, credit cards, auto loans. You want it, come see us. You could actually reach me at dw@prospectorsfcu.org or check out our website, www.prospectorsfcu.org. And there are actually quick and easy ways that you can even join us online and enrolling. Go to our website, click enroll now. You're going to go ahead and put your date of birth, social, and get started right from there, creating a password and username. It's quick, it's easy. We even have some QR codes on our website that you can actually download the app, both compatible with Android and iPhone. So if you guys have any questions, come see me. I'll be here tomorrow for that wonderful kickoff for Hispanic Heritage Month, and I'll see you the next 3 weeks as well. Bye, guys.
Let's Connect would not be possible without the support of our sponsors like Massage Envy with 2 locations, West Covina and Diamond Bar. Of course, our friends from Prospectors Federal Credit Union with also 2 locations, West Covina and Diamond Bar. From our friends from Med Spa Deluxe LA with also 2 locations, West Covina and Rancho Cucamonga. And let's not forget our friends from Suburban Water Systems, here in the city of Covina. And also from our friends from Plaza West Covina. Thank you so much to Plaza West Covina for being a great supporter and sponsor of our show, Let's Connect Now.
Megamix Expo, San Gabriel Valley 2025. Connect with industry leaders, business solutions workshops, elevate your brand to new heights. Don't miss this electrifying 2-day event. Join us March 12th and 13th at the same.
And I'm really excited because we have a very special guest, that we want to get right into it because...
You always call everybody a very special guest, which is really nice that you do that, but...
You know what? He is special because he's my friend.
Well, maybe because you know him since you were 9.
Something like that. Yes. But let's welcome to Let's Connect Now, my very good friend, Gabriel Tinee Sanchez with Tinee Sound Inc. Tinee Sound Inc. And I am honored, bro, because, you are a sponsor of the Hispanic Heritage Month. You sponsored it last year with sound equipment, and you're doing it again. You're doing it again this year for us. So thank you very much, bro. I really appreciate that.
No, thank you, June. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. I've never been on a podcast before, so I'm a little nervous. It's like my first podcast. This is my first show. I'm usually behind the scenes, right?
You are, yeah.
I'm usually the one behind the scenes. Didn't I help you set some of this stuff up?
Yeah. You have Jimmy with the sound and stuff, making sure our sound is correct, all of our levels are correct.
So I don't even know how to act on this side. You know what I mean? It's like, this is a trip.
I know. You're dressed up, too. You look really good.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Brought to you by Tinee Sound.
And we're sophisticated. He has a radio voice, too, to top it off. But something that's really cool, because, when I first met you, when they told me, oh, this is Tinee, my God, I don't want to make them stand up or anything, but.
No, please don't make me stand
Wow.
up because I'm
You'll
only
be-
dressed appropriately from the top up. That's what happens behind the scenes, folks. This is how we do it. But yeah.
He'll be out of frame if he stands
You
up.
know what? Something that I need to mention, because you were one of the recipients of a certificate of recognition from the Assemblywoman Blanca Rubio, and also from the supervisor's office, Hilda Solis, last year. What did that feel like to never really receive something like that? But we were honored to have you, and give you a recognition like that. Did that have any meaning for you?
Very much so. I don't think we as Hispanics get the recognition sometimes that we deserve. Like going back, I know we're talking about Hispanic Heritage Month, and we'll probably get into how I got started. But even knowing like the first color TV was invented by a Mexican.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Color TV was invented by a Mexican. And so we've been involved in so many aspects of building our communities, our areas, the places that we live, we work, our music, our cultures, our food, those types of things. And it's funny because I've been really going back and looking at my heritage and my ancestry with my aunt and my great grandfather. And I actually come from the French. I have French. My great-great-grandfather came in the French-Mexican Wars.
Wow.
He was a French soldier and got with a Mexican woman, and that's how, on my mom's side, came from that. So just going back and looking like where we all come from and how deep into our roots and like in our heritage, how we go back, it's just interesting.
Yeah,
And
no one
how
can ever say.
mixed we are.
How mixed we are. Mixed we
we
are.
are so mixed. And so for someone to say I'm full-blown Mexican, that's not true.
No.
That is not true, because we all have, there's just so much stuff running through our veins.
Very much
That's
so.
how we're all connected, right?
Yeah, like if you saw my mom, she's white with green eyes. My grandfather was like white with blue eyes. It's amazing. But then on my father's side, there's a thing. But I think that's what makes it so interesting and so wonderful, is the culmination of all cultures and aspects of life. And what did it mean to me? It meant a lot. It meant very much. I was such humbled with gratitude that I was recognized just to just to be a part, just to help my community and help in the service in the small aspect that
And you
God
even
gave
told me you didn't even know it was at the caliber that we were doing, and you felt like you didn't even give us the best, which was the best that we felt.
We felt
but
it was,
you felt you could have done even better, because you're like, wait, you didn't tell me. Oh man, what the heck? You're making me look. I could have done this and this. So it was so cool that you knew, like afterwards. You're like, wait, because you gave us the sound, but you didn't. You didn't expect to show up. But then when I shared with you that we were going to recognize you, then you showed up. And you're like,
Yeah.
You even told Jimmy, like, what the heck, dude? Like, you didn't tell me it was going to be like this.
Yeah, I didn't know the magnitude of what it was. And then, of course, my thinking is and not because I want the recognition, but because I want to be the best and put out the best and give the very best, because the best has been given to me.
That's really
You
nice.
know,
I like
so
that.
it's like, and then you're my friend. You guys are my friends, and I've known June since we were teenagers. But it's always because it is a reflection of what goes on inside, internally, that comes out externally. And so everything that I've been through in the past and have gone through has made me the man and the person that I am. And I love to give back. I love to help. I love to pull those out that were maybe in a situation that I was in. And I always want to give my best, because I know God has given me his best.
But you know what? So I can honestly say that before I even put a face to the name, I knew you by Gabriel. Back in 2000, I believe it was in 2016, 2017, and I believe the last one, 2018 was the last one. But you actually, your company, I hired your company through one of your good friends who made the recommendation, and you did an outstanding outstanding job.
Was that at the ranch?
At Hertz Ranch.
And she didn't even know you then.
Yeah, I didn't even know you. And when and then when I put two and two together, because I was so pleased with the way that the people I met with, really knew and saw my vision for what I wanted, as far as how I wanted the TVs, how I wanted the lighting, and how everything kind of looked. And I was very proud.
And I met with you here at the office,
Was
right?
it you?
Yeah, I met with you here at this office.
I don't remember. I mean, my mind has been playing games on me, but but going back to that, I can honestly attest about his work. Your work was very well, put together, and it was for public safety, for our fire and police, and you did a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
My boy over there, Jimmy, JR, when they did the event at Faith Community, they did the sound, they did all the everything, and they also did such a great job. And and those are the kind of, you guys are the kind of people that we want to recognize, because you're right, you go unnoticed sometimes, but it feels good, right? It feels good that even at a level that we're recognizing you, it means a lot to you.
Yeah, but what I want to do, though, because the reason why we wanted to bring you on is because, we asked you to do about a 3-minute video, but then we tricked you when you got
Which
here.
I thought that's what I was going to
Because
do.
you would have said no, because that's a humble.
But we brought you in because I was talking to Monica. I said, you have an amazing story. You have an amazing story of a Latino Chicano right here, born and raised right here in the area, the San Gabriel Valley. And, and now you have a very, very successful sound company. But it didn't just happen overnight. You ran with a group of people. You did what you did as a kid. But, I want you to share a little bit of your testimony of your transition from how you used to be to where you knew in that pivot point where I could do something with my life.
Yeah. Well, and I know you can attest to the same situation, because we grew up in church.
Right.
We grew up in church. My father had given his life to the Lord back in 1975. So I grew up in the church, knowing about the Lord, knowing how the Lord worked, how he changed lives. Because my dad was in and out of prison, addicted to drugs, and God delivered him, set him free. And then I was born. He came to the Lord in 1975, and then I was born in February of 1976. And so growing up in the church, but circumstances that happened, and now I'm realizing like the traumatic experiences, even as Christians, the Bible tells us that in this world, we're going to have many tribulations. And we as Christians, we as people, we're going to go through things. Mm-hmm. And so I went through some traumatic experiences, even as a child or as a Christian, growing up in a Christian home. And it caused me to have a sense of disbelonging and hurt. And so in my preteen and teenage years, I began. My mom had left us when I was 8, and my father was a single father raising me and my sisters, and doing the best that he could. But he was always at work, and so there was a sense of belonging. And I started hanging out with the fellas. I joined a local street gang and began to run and cause some chaos in the area and in school, and got kicked out and mm-hmm. so on and so on. And I did the things. I got in trouble. I got arrested. I went to juvenile hall. I did some of those things that we do.
As you're young.
Graffitiing on the wall, crossing people out, getting into fights, getting into, I've been shot at, stabbed. I've been, in the short time I was out there, it happened. So, but at the age of about 17 and a half, I gave my life to the Lord. And even what's crazy is that a lot of people think that I started doing sound because I was doing it at church. But I actually started when I was 14. My uncle and my grandfather on my mom's side, they were musicians, East LA musicians. So my uncle was an East LA musician. He played at like the Montebello Inn and other clubs in other areas. And to keep me out of trouble, he said, "Hey, can you help me set up the sound system?" And I remember, I specifically remember he had a Sunboard, and he had some speakers and cables, and then my cousin played bass in the thing, and my other cousin played drums. And so they said, "Hey, I'll give you an extra couple bucks if you set up my stuff." And so I needed to get my cigarettes. So I was 14.
Need to get your cigarettes.
And he goes, "I'll give you extra $5." And so, that was a pack of smokes. And of course, at that time, I was 14. I was 6'4", so I was never carded. And we know in the area where to go get them.
Yeah.
So anyway, That's where I began to do. So then at 17, when I gave my life to the Lord, they had me start doing sound at the church. And so even like me and Jimmy played the drums, and we would go early, and we would set up, and I would push the cart, and little by little, and I began to gain knowledge and grow, and I went to the men's home at 18. I never finished school.
I never knew you went to the men's home.
Yeah, I went to the men's home back in
Interesting. I didn't know.
Albuquerque. Yeah, in
Okay.
1994, I went to the men's home, which is a rehabilitation home for men, and I stood out there, and I was still doing sound. I did sound while I was out there. I did sound while I was here, and then I came back. When I came back to California, I was 18, going on 19, and I worked security jobs. I was still doing sound at the church, but I worked security jobs. Then, then one day I decided that I didn't want to do this. I pursued sound, so I got a job at Knott's Berry Farm. I began to work there. Then I got hired at Disney. I was working there at the Disneyland Hotel, and I became like the head audio guy at the Disneyland Hotel. So I started moving, I started learning, started growing. Then I went to work for another company called Audio Techniques, which he was a long time. He was actually in conjunction with the church doing sound for all of our big events, and he
I remember him.
offered me
Yeah.
a job. You remember him?
Yeah.
My Bob. Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
He offered me a job, and so I went to work for him, and I took it as an opportunity. I was making good money at Disney. I was making good money. And I actually took a pay decrease. It was so strange because I took a pay decrease, but what it was in actuality was it was an opportunity to learn the business aspect as well as the business of sound of what I was doing.
Right.
And so I worked for him for quite a few years. It was tough. And then here's the truth. I had child support because I had some kids, right? So in order for me to, because they were, oh man, it's tough. And trust me, I know a lot of guys.
No,
that are
I like
out
this
there-
story because
Yeah.
you know what? You're not just like, oh, you stood consistent and it just happened.
Let's go
There
back
was
to what I initially said. In this world, you have many tribulations.
Yes. So as you're growing, you did. I mean, along your way, you still made mistakes. You still, were being, who you are at the same time because you were growing.
Right.
You're still young, man. You're young and still growing.
I was 22, 23.
Yeah, you're still young.
And then when I so I was about this age, I was about 27. So I was about 27 and turned 28, and so I was struggling. I remember struggling. I was working, and I was remember it was bad. I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment. I had 3 kids, plus I had a stepson at the time, and I was working so hard. They were taking half of my checks, and I couldn't even afford a pizza.
Wow.
And I remember walking out of Knott's Berry. We were working 16-hour days, and I remember I got my check, and it was gone. I barely had enough to pay the rent, put gas, and pay the bills, and we didn't have food. And for some reason, they handed me a second check, and I opened up that second check, and it was a check for close to $1,000. And at the time, I called my wife and I said, "Hey, get the coupon and order a pizza." We still needed $2 off. But I remember because I had overpaid, and it was just a sign that God was providing and He was meeting it, because I had stepped out and I had began to and that's when I started my own business. I started Tinee Sound, but I was struggling. I was struggling to make it, and throughout the years, we started Tinee Sound in 2005. So we're going on our 20th year.
Wow.
Being in business, but the struggle is real.
Right.
You don't just make money, and then you make mistakes when you start in business and
The wrong relationships.
partnerships,
Yes.
and the wrong people that my first gig, I got burned.
What?
Yes.
Wait, they didn't pay you?
They didn't pay me. I had to work for 2 weeks for free for the sub rentals of the equipment that I needed. We're not going to say it. We're going to.
not JR,
No,
right?
no, it's not JR.
no, it was Monica.
It was
It was the Hearst.
Monica. It was the Hearst Ranch.
I would check the. I approve
Better
that.
check the books. Check
the books.
Check the QuickBooks. We got QuickBooks online. But yeah, I mean, you know, so that's how it started. We need to get back on topic here. So that's how we started. And I just remember in the beginning stages of struggling and doing what I needed to do, and I literally started Tinee Sound in my living room in the city of La Puente. It started, and I bought a few pieces of equipment.
I think I remember with Jimmy moving out speakers out of your living room.
You remember that?
Yeah, and loading them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Jimmy was like, I'm like, oh, shoot, Tinee has this sound in his living room?
In my living room.
your living room.
And I was there for about a year. A year till I got a friend of mine. I asked if I can use a portion of his warehouse space where I'm at now, which we ended up taking that whole thing over, along with that was C, and then we took over A, and now we took over B. So we're in A, B, and C. So over the last 20 years, we've amassed both.
And I've seen just half of it, I think, and when I was blown away when you took me to the back and you told me the story about the man.
Yeah.
And I got to see, I got the entire story. Remember, I was so scared. I was like, "What?" But I
said if the air conditioner turns on, the lights flicker. It's Mike.
But I saw.
So, by the way, for those of you who don't know, out there in TV land, is that what we call it? TV land? What do we call it? Podcast land. A gentleman, Mike, passed away in the warehouse that we took over. So, that's the story.
So scared.
I was all scared, but the incredible amount of equipment that you have is amazing. It's amazing. So to me, I was like, wow, okay, I kind of visualize like what you do, you know.
And I love the fact because you not only because you started learning sound. Did you go to school for this?
No.
So it's all self-taught.
It's all it's self-taught,
but by others.
That's what I was reading, and then putting myself in a position to continue to learn and being open as a sponge to ask the right questions and never being too proud. And I think us as Hispanics, we have a stereotype of being too proud. But I have always tried to be walk in humility and say, I don't know, can you teach me? And been open to learning. And I think that's probably been, along with my transparency, because you need transparency in order to be able to say, hey, I don't know, can you help me?
Yes.
You know, and I've done this by myself for the last 17 years.
That's
like
amazing.
being the only one. I contract other people, and I do have employees, but they're on a per needed basis. But now I found myself, in order to grow, in order to get better, I've had to hire some full-time, part-time people, and I've done that. And that's been a trial and a learning experience. Trust me, let me tell you, you know.
Because after the gig, you would be like, okay, you're done, bye. And now you're like, oh, man, you're here tomorrow? Oh, my God, I got to deal with you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Jimmy. Jimmy
and
shows
sometimes I have to hire Jimmy. You know? but he works for cheap.
He works for cheap.
I buy him a
Go a
burrito.
couple times,
No, I worked for Tinee as well. I worked with him because, you know, at the end of the day, one thing I love about this guy is that he says something key, that he loves to help other people, and that's true because he'll see people, and I've personally have heard and seen where he's helped individuals, you know, that need a job or get on their feet right away. He'll hire them and teach them, and sometimes they don't last because what he does is not easy. I mean, this equipment is heavy. It really is. You can pull your back out. You're done the next day. I mean, you're tired.
And we're doing 18-hour days.
And doing 18-hour days. And so it's not easy, but the ones that do stick it out, it makes it worth it for him. But, you know, what you do and what you give opportunity, because I want to on that because you love to give back. You know, I know that you do and stuff, and I believe that you're a man of the reason why your business is growing because you like to give back. You know, yes, you don't acknowledge it. You don't have social media where you put it out there, but in the privacy, you are always blessing people, especially churches and things that you blessed us, you know, like you didn't charge me. I need help, you know, my sound, like it's messing up. Jimmy doesn't know. You'll come over here. You'll do it because you're a friend.
And I've seen him do that lots of times, you know, so I admire that about people.
Yeah. So, but, you know, I want to get into because, you know, your business. I mean, I believe that people don't understand that you've done shows where people might need 2 speakers to where you've done shows to where it's the Toyota Arena.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to ask next. I was going to say, you know, can you share with us like some of the venues that you've actually been at? You know, because I've heard of some, but I don't remember.
Well, I mean, yeah, I've worked with I've worked with a lot of. I toured with Tanya Tucker. She's a country legend. I've done sound for Elton John. Yeah, that was scary, especially when he asked me for a microphone. He's like, "Can I get a mic?" So I have so many stories of people. Kirk Franklin. You know, you put me on the spot, and there's
No, I think
so
it was
many-
Maroon 5 and
Yeah.
Maroon 5 and all
I-
those
yeah.
private parties.
Yeah, a lot of private parties. I did sound for Prince in his house,
Wow.
and Sheila E. and Samuel L. Jackson was sitting right behind me, like, you know. And
cool
here
is
I
that?
am, this
He's one of my favorites.
But here I am, this ex-gang member from the streets of La Puente. You know what I mean? With no education, and I'm rubbing elbows. I've done sound for President George Bush, President Obama.
Wow.
People may not like this, but I got a call last week to do Trump, but but we didn't get that job, just so you know. So don't worry, we didn't get that. But I don't know if people don't like him, but anyway, we're not talking about politics. But yeah, Toyota Arena. I've traveled around the nation, I've traveled around the world, and I've done so many things. But I tell you, the biggest reward is helping those who come from the same lifestyle that I have. You know, just a grateful man.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. You know, when we're able to do something like that, and I know this is very personal for you probably, but you know, I admire your you being vulnerable with us today. It takes a lot.
Yeah.
It takes a lot, and I love that about people, because that means you really appreciate and you love what you do.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just, you're causing me to think about, you know, what I've done, where I've been, where I come from. And it's a humbling thing, because, you know, my sons and my daughters have degrees, master's degrees, bachelor's degrees.
Nice.
Awesome.
And I've been able to give them a better life than I had, but always acknowledging that our help comes from the Lord, you know, and that God delivered Grandpa, God saved him, and God raised him and raised us, and to be eternally grateful for what he has done for the Sanchez legacy. And to say, like, if God can do it for me, you know, he can do it for others. That our situations and our circumstances, yeah, we've been through some traumatic experiences. We've been through some hurt, some heartache, and some headache, but that does not define who we are.
Exactly.
You know, that doesn't mean that we have to stay in that lifestyle. That doesn't mean that we have to stay in those positions, because we are able, through, you know, hard work. Of course, I attribute everything that I have to the Lord and to God and to what he's done in my life. But it also took hard work. You know, he said,
Hard work,
his word says,
consistency.
if you don't work, you don't eat.
That's right.
And I ain't missed a meal. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I say that to say, like, if you find yourself in a situation, maybe no education, there's always opportunity. There's always something to be done, especially in this country. Like, we have the greatest opportunities. I don't care what's going on social media. I don't care what's going on in politics. You have the opportunity, and God has given each and every one of us the ability
That's right.
to create wealth, he says.
Yes.
And so we can do it. And no, I may not be the richest. I may not be the greatest. I may not be the best. But what I am is grateful for what God has given me.
I love it.
And I can say that with an honest and a sincere heart. And yes, yeah,
Well,
June,
right
Monica,
now, you
I
know
love
what
to
I'm
give back.
seeing. You know what I see from my eyes. I see a very rich man, a very wealthy man, because your heart is full, and I can see that. And sometimes, you could have a wealthy, healthy bank account full of millions of dollars, but your heart is ugly, and you're full. You're very wealthy, and I love that about you. I love the side of Tiny. I've never seen that. I never thought in a million years, out of all the people that I've known, that I've met, that this is the person. And I want to tell you, I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. You don't know how many times I try to pull that out of this guy right here, but it ain't happening.
Well,
You know?
and the thing is, like, being 6'6.5".
Yeah, he's a big teddy bear. He's a
6'6".
big teddy bear.
But I grew up like always fighting. Like everybody thought I was older. I'm like,
No, we'll be in the car. People will say stuff, and then he pulls over and gets out. They're like, "Oh, never mind." They just take off.
But it's like I've been this. But the ones who really know me know that.
Yeah.
that I love God and I love people.
Yeah.
And I love to help people and I love. I heard it said today. I love the life I live and I live the life I love.
That's right.
I
like
that. That's just a wonderful statement. And the reason why I'm able to say that is because I serve a good God who's been faithful to me. And even when I haven't been faithful to him.
Yeah, he's still faithful.
With my imperfections and with my failures and with my successes, I'm still able to walk in humility and just say, at the end of the day, there's been so many things. I mean, I know you might not have known this, but 6 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease.
Didn't know.
Yeah. I didn't tell a lot of people. And they were going to put me on dialysis, and they said I had about 7 more years to live.
Wow.
And here I am almost 7 years later, and my kidneys are operating at 50 to 60%. And that just doesn't happen, through hard work and working out and my diet, changing my diet and those type of things. But it took a touch and a hand of a miracle from God, because he knows that, and I know you know this, but for the last, what are we, 14 years, 15 years, almost 15 years, I've been a single father. No, longer than that. What are we? We're already in 2024, huh?
Yeah.
So 17 years I've been, almost 17 years I've been a single father, raising three of my children by myself, and God has been good, and God has been faithful, and he's kept me alive, and I'm grateful for that.
That's amazing, man.
Praise God for that.
Yeah, they're doing great. And I want to talk about your business, man, because you said a key thing that, and I feel it's like this with Hispanics, is that the reason why we sometimes we're not successful is because we don't ask questions.
Yeah.
We're too prideful to ask questions. And when we ask questions, because we don't want people to know that we're struggling. We want everything to be like, no, I'm doing good. But in reality, we're really struggling. Yeah. But it's okay to ask questions.
Absolutely.
It's okay that we're going to make certain decisions that might fail, but it's okay. Because we know we're not going to go in that direction anymore. Now we're going to go in this direction, because people are always watching. People are, as you begin to, get in a position where one day maybe, more people are working for you and stuff, there's going to be other people coming up. Yeah. Other sound companies and stuff. But I like the fact that every time I'll go hang out with him, he has something new,
Yeah.
something innovative that is out now and this and that, because you keep asking questions.
Yeah.
You keep learning, and that's the most important thing, and you get the newest stuff to make sure that it sounds great. Because I mean, I know you might be, you might be, you can't see too good, but you can hear good.
Well, it kind of reminds me of my 81-year-old father, who's still in radio, who could have been done years ago. Years ago, he could have been done, retired, and just live a good life, But something, this is related to what he just said, but he's always wanting to you know, all the guys in the radio office under his radio station are young, like probably 3 times younger than he is, and he's 81, but he could still do what they do, and he could do it better, because he's always asking questions. He's always, you know, reading and trying to discover new things, you know, through and he'll fail at it, but then he'll do it again, you know, or he'll ask the questions that need to be asked. Sometimes they don't even want to answer him, but they're forced to ask him because he's not going to leave them alone unless they answer him the right way. So I'm really proud of my dad because he's 81 years old. He's still on the radio and he's still asking the questions.
Yeah.
And I feel that I did the same thing, you know. And so when you say that, there's nothing wrong with asking, you know, because that's the only way we're going to get to where we want to be.
Yeah.
You know, we just have to format it our way.
And I've always said this, that so many people want the power of the position, but they never want to take the posture that's required to get to that position. And that's humility, you know, and in asking the right questions. And so your father sounds like a great guy, like just learning, wanting to learn, always wanting to be open and ask questions and write things down and saying, you know, not pretending like we know it all. Because I'll be honest, I'm not the best sound man. I'm not the greatest.
You heard it, guys, from right here.
I'm not
off
the
camera. He's the
greatest.
best.
Yeah. No, I'm not the best.
I know.
Yeah,
If you're thinking of hiring Tinee Sound, please don't.
Yeah.
No, hey, what? You can't get that plug.
No, but I'm saying, like, you know, I can't say I'm the best. You have to say that, you know,
Right.
in
We
your
think you're the
opinion.
best.
And so I do the best that I can, and if I fail, I'll make it up. I'll learn from that. And have I failed? Have I had some bad times? Oh my God! If I could tell you the stories, if we had time, you know, I'd tell you the times that I have failed and we have blown it. But it's always learning and picking yourself up from that position and continuing to move forward, because it's not our failures that tell us who we are. It's our perseverance and our successes that continue on, that keep telling people he's not giving up. He's going to keep going forward. He's going to keep doing the best that he can. And, you know, I really thank God, because I have, God has put me in positions and with people where I've been able to just not help, but I've been able to create wealth.
Nice.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Pass it on.
pass it on, and being and so many people look at me and sometimes I don't see it, but as a mentor, and I have so many, which you know, some of the guys that I have taken under my wings and have moved on. I mean, some of them are big wigs in
like audio.
Disney, like audio, who's the
Man.
head audio guy at Azusa Pacific University, which
That's right.
is down the street from us. Randy Sinner, who's big time Disney guy right now. And I was on a gig, and I says, you know, talking to a young lady. She said, "Oh, yeah." I said, she goes, "Do you know Randy Sinner?" I go, "Of course I know Randy Sinner. Tell Randy Sinner you met Tinee."
Yeah.
So she literally texted him, and then she's like, "Hey, Randy." Tinee says hi. And he's like, "Oh my God." And she's like, "Who's Tinee?" And he's like, "He taught me everything I knew about live audio." And
Yeah.
it was like, and he's a big Disney guy.
No, and I remember because when you would hire me a couple times, I would be with Jimmy, and Jimmy's like, "Yeah, we have this guy and this guy. This guy's he's just jumped off the Justin Bieber tour to come work with us, and then this guy's just where I'm like,
Steven Snyder.
yeah, but it's like that means you're doing something right for those guys to jump off
Yeah.
$1 million projects to come and work for you on a side gig." And then go back.
Yeah.
That
Like,
means
Steven
you've done
Sny-
something great.
Steven Snyder, who I met at Knott's Berry Farm, came to work for me, and Dickie, he was a head audio guy there, and he says, "Hey, hey Tinee, can you take him?" And he goes, "He doesn't know much about audio, but he's a smart guy." God, Steven is one of my greatest guys. Like,
Yeah.
he just learned so much. He just came off a tour with Blink 182.
Nice.
Literally just came off
Yeah.
a tour with Blink 182, and then he asked me to hire his girlfriend. And I said, "Is she as smart as you? Is she as strong as you?" You know, she wasn't, but I still hired her anyway. Nice gal, you're great. No, but I was able to take her under my wing,
Nice.
and he was able to come in and help us. And so many people that I don't sometimes see it.
No,
I don't sometimes, and just like you
Yeah.
said, like, I don't get the recognition, but the recognition is unnecessary when you just do what you love doing and helping people.
Right. Yeah. I love that, man. And this being Hispanic Heritage Month, I mean, advice could you give to those Hispanic businesses out there that
Or individuals.
or individual entrepreneurs that are thinking about starting their businesses and doing their things? I mean, what are some of the things they need to do right away? They're just starting. They might not know how, but what do you recommend some of the things they could do? Doesn't matter if they're not in the sound industry, but what should they do?
I think one of the things that helped me was getting into a place where someone who was already doing it and putting myself like under their wing, like I put myself and I asked questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Put yourself in a position where you're able to learn if you can't go to school and you can't do those things. Because sometimes we have kids, we have families, we're starting these little businesses. Some of us don't even know how to get sign up for a fictitious name.
Right.
And there are people, there are friends, and you ask, hey, how do I do this? How do I go? And then, we'll talk to so-and-so or talk to this, or this is how I did it. They don't know how to incorporate or what the difference is between a C Corp, an S Corp, an LLC. I actually know what those mean over time. You know what I mean? I've learned, but it's important. Even if you're a sole proprietor, what's important? My son, who's a sole proprietor right now, and I said, well, you better save 30% because Uncle Sam's going to take his percentage.
Exactly.
So even with taxes and those types of things, is putting yourself in a position, in a place where you can ask the questions, you can learn, and you can absorb everything that you need to do. And then my other advice is, even if you fail, get back up. Jump back on the horse and continue to ride. Don't give up. Don't give in. Don't. I was talking today to someone, and I said, I was asked, does fear sometimes grip my heart? And I said, yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, all the time.
All the time.
We do. Yes.
Yeah. But either I'm going to do it, or I'm not going to do it, or I'm going to do it even with fear.
You know how I define our mistakes. I define mistakes. To me, every time someone makes a mistake and they feel like that's it, failure, that's it, I'm done, whatever. To me, I always say, you know what? Take those mistakes and turn it into wisdom, because that's what they are. Mistakes are wisdom. And if you don't see it that way, then you're viewing life in a very wrong way, because that's what has taught us, and every day
trial and error.
We're uncomfortable,
Agreed.
We learn something and then we know. So how is it wisdom? Because the next time around, you know not to do that, and you'll figure it out. It's such a beautiful thing, because without mistakes, we wouldn't be where we're at.
Absolutely, and I'm king of mistakes.
I think we all are.
The queen of mistakes. Please give me my
she
crown.
admitted. Thank you, Lord Jesus.
And one thing is that wisdom, the Bible says, that is the essential key.
Yeah.
It gets us from here to there.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
But the only way you acquire wisdom is through, trial and error, and
that
stuff.
and the fear of the Lord.
And the fear of the Lord, yes.
Is the beginning of the wisdom.
Putting God first.
It's a proverb.
So last
that's so
question
nice.
is this.
Yes.
It's Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yes, sir.
What does Hispanic heritage mean to you?
Personally,
yeah.
Personally. It means a lot, because it's an acknowledgement of our culture and appreciation of where we come from and what makes us who we are. And so, I've come to learn to appreciate all cultures.
Right.
I love soul food. I love Chinese food. I love Japanese food, and not just the culture, like the food, but the cultures of their ways and the beauty of their art and their language, and so many different things. And so I know so many people, especially here in Southern California, they love our cultures, they love our ways, and it just means it's I'm thankful that there's an appreciation and an acknowledgement that we as Hispanics are able to make a contribution to our communities, to others, to those who are maybe down and out, or maybe up in Adam, that we can make a positive, be a positive influence, make a positive contribution to our communities, to our cities, to our states, to our regions, and even to this country and even to the world. You know, that's what it means to me, an appreciation and an acknowledgement of who we are, where we come from, and what we're able to bring to the table.
Oh my God!
I love it.
We're super grateful that you decided to jump on this podcast today. I couldn't be more proud. I loved your story.
Yes.
I'm so proud of you. I never thought I would see this side of Tiny. Everybody, you guys don't understand. Because you guys just don't understand. When I met him, I was scared of him. I didn't know.
Because you saw a lot of people see me in work mode, even at church. So like they come over to the house or something. I'm like, hey, you want something to eat? You want something to
But
drink?
it's your sarcastic
And
personality too
yes,
that
I'm
got
very
me,
sarcastic.
because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know.
Yes, but there's different lights to me, and it's so funny because I say, like, Jimmy, he speaks Chinese. Chinese. He knows the ancient Chinese secrets.
He knows how to calm me down.
He knows exactly. Like somebody's like, oh, Jimmy, and he's like, no, that's not what he meant. This is what he meant. Like he could translate Chinese.
No, honestly, he is the interpreter.
Yes.
He understands his language.
Yes.
Because I sure as heck don't understand his language sometimes, and I have to call Jimmy to come and interpret. And when he does, Jimmy, I think I just found a new career path for you.
Yeah. Jimmy is a translator and interpreter of different people. But you get what I'm saying?
No, yeah, definitely.
The Chinese, and so many people don't get to see this aspect, and so I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you.
It was a grand surprise.
So
my
awesome.
first podcast, and I hope I did.
I hope first of many, because like I said, your story is amazing, bro, and I believe that every successful business person, you have a great story to where it can inspire a lot more people, because there is a lot of Chicanos out there, Latinos out there that they have the entrepreneur spirit, but they just don't know how, or they feel
They're
because
afraid.
they're afraid of where they come from, they can't step out of it or move from it. But you've grown from it. You've moved past it and made yourself a very successful business. I mean, I've been to your house. It's amazing. You have a pool. I mean, he has a Harley and all this stuff, man.
All right.
I have 3.
He has 3 Harleys. Doesn't even let me ride one.
I collect them just for fun.
But that's because of hard work. And I want people to understand that. And I didn't ask you to name the people that you worked for out of just gloating and like, no, I wanted them to see where you started from. And you still do. You still rent from 2 speakers for churches to big old
and donate as
donate as well.
And I've been able to, in this season, like my church, we're in a building project, and I've been able to front them, a top of the line sound system.
Wow.
And my pastor is very grateful. He's very grateful. And came to, hi, Tiny, we're going to take care of you. I'm like, it's fine, Pastor. I just want my church to be able to proclaim the gospel and the worship service and everything and be at its best. And I'm really grateful being able to give not just my time and my talent, but also my tithe and my finances, and God has increased, and he's increased my influence, and he's increased my investments.
Right.
And he's also increased my ability to give to others. And until the day that I die, until the day that I go mix on that great soundboard in the sky, I'm gonna be me, and I'm gonna continue to give and help others. I'll stop talking after this story. There was a young man in the parking lot when I showed up to church, and he was, you could tell he was homeless. He reeked of alcohol. He was just coming down from a high, and he was frightened. He was laying in the parking lot. It was hot. And I went over to him, and I got him some water, and I talked to him, and he just said, I just want to be free. And
Wow.
He handed me a knife because he was so scared, and he was shaking, and I took him in, and I sat in church with him, and God had touched him. And it wasn't the sound system. It wasn't the lights.
Right.
It wasn't the LED wall. It wasn't the production. But it was the simple love that someone gave to another person.
Humanity.
The humanity.
is what we're missing sometimes, and you offer him that. You gave him. Oh my gosh, I can't even speak of that because it's just so beautiful that you did that.
And those are the things that I want to continue and leave a legacy and a heritage of loving people regardless of the color, regardless of the creed, regardless of their beliefs, religion, whatever it may be, but to always be able to be someone that's able to give and love people and help them. That's it. Bottom line.
Well, we here at the Greater West Covina, Let's Connect Now, and of course from the Plaza West Covina, we're very grateful to you for your contribution to this this great event. This is our third annual. We started off so small with really no vision the very first time, and honestly, the second year we started seeing the vision. This year we have an even bigger vision,
right.
Thanks to JR and all of the hard work that he has been putting into this event. I'm learning, I'm just watching them, do their thing, because this is a whole new industry, something totally new for me.
Yeah.
So I'm just like on the back end, but I'm really enjoying like the, how much joy it puts in his heart to be able to, to do something like this, because that's what he loves, right? And then through him, you and Jimmy, and then we have our student Aiden that we're so grateful for, because this guy is learning. He's a sponge right now. And Aiden, you need to ask the questions. Don't ever forget that. Because
Yes,
if you're not asking
ask questions.
we can't help you. But but we're very grateful. We're very, very grateful, and we can't wait for this event to take off again, and then for the following years to just make it even bigger and better for our community. So thank you to all those who have sponsored this event. It's just been such a learning thing for me, and I'm very grateful from the people that I'm learning from. So.
Oh, that's amazing. So, Tinee, where can people, if they need sound, where can they find you? How can they reach you?
Instagram, Facebook, atineesound.com.
Say it slow. A?
Tinee, 2 E's, not a Y. tineesound.com. And my @ is Tinee Sound Inc. And Facebook is Tinee Sound. So
All right.
Tinee Sound, and I know Bobby D's going to be there, and I'm going to make sure that I appreciate him because he's given me an opportunity.
Nice.
To do. We did Janae Aiko. I was working with Janae Aiko and the Toyota Arena, and his partnership gave me an opportunity to do sound for them, and they were very grateful and good people to work with. And I know you're going to have them on, and I can't wait to see them and say hi. And that's what it's about: networking with people of the same. Not just the same ethnicity or heritage, but just in the same mindset and frame to help people and just do a great job. And they good people, man. The Bobby D Productions is just, man, great people.
Yeah. Oh, thanks,
And I'm glad you guys are going to have
Yeah,
it.
me too. We're happy. We're excited and stuff. So, but thank you so much, bro. I really appreciate you coming on. I mean, your story, like I said, we were going to ask you just 3 minutes, but then we had a great idea just to have you come on. It's Hispanic heritage. You have a great story, a great business. So if you need sound, if you need, a sound guy just to come out, if you need Tinee just to come out and hear your sound, period, consultation, give him a call, look him up on Instagram, Facebook, Tinee Sound Inc, and, or even call us. We get you connected with Tinee as well. But until next week, we'll see you guys. I mean, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, right? YouTube.
Yes.
Hasta la próxima.
Yes. Hasta la próxima, everybody.